Hi there, I'm Kelsey with CRTP, the Coalition for Responsible Transportation Priorities, and this is a presentation on Street Story, a platform for community engagement. So, what is Street Story? Street Story is an online platform for community engagement that gives California residents the opportunity to make reports and share stories about where you've been in a crash or a near miss, or where you feel safe or unsafe traveling. Street Story features a survey where people can record travel experiences. And then once that record has been entered, the information is publicly accessible on the website with maps and tables that can all be downloaded. Organizations and agencies can use the information as part of their community needs assessments, transportation safety planning, or evaluations. Street Story is a way for decision makers to collect public input on community transportation safety needs for evaluations of future development and infrastructure. The program was created by a team of city planners, public health professionals, engineers, social welfare experts, and computer scientists at UC Berkeley's Safe Transportation Research and Education Center, otherwise known as SafeTrek. The platform and the information collected are free to use, publicly accessible, and available in English and Spanish. So, to talk a little bit about the Street Story data, the surveys and reports allow members of the public to provide information about a safety issue or a safe place to travel and observations about that place. So, this includes information about the built environment, such as sidewalks, roadways, bike lanes, etc., as well as the type of incident. And the participants are able to provide a narrative or a description about the incident or location. The data is a collection of these experiences that can be downloaded and sorted in a variety of ways. These maps and tables can be downloaded and used in reports, outreach materials, funding proposals, and more. This helps to show what people are experiencing on the road, and then the maps become more filled in and useful the more people make reports. Street Story complements other data sources about street safety, but it's not a substitute for reporting crashes to the police. So why is Street Story important? Street Story is being used to complement transportation safety efforts in a number of communities across California. Various groups have used Street Story in a few different ways over the years, such as CRTP. We have been partnered with SafeTrek and using and promoting Street Story on the North Coast since 2019. We have partnered with different county agencies to use the tool as a reporting system and often use Street Story to advocate in local planning efforts. Agencies can use Street Story as part of their community outreach to inform their planning. The data can also be used for community-led improvement efforts, particularly in areas where the crash data does not fully show the community's experience. SafeTrek has also adapted the tool to use in and by tribal communities in California. So part of making this a useful tool for hazard improvement is for community members to keep the data up to date. So this means making reports. While we're continuing to get the word out there about Street Story, we need help from the community to make reports and spread the word about the platform to keep it active and current. So how to make a report on Street Story? So when you first go to streetstory.berkeley.edu and you type in the city, county, tribal area, or unincorporated area you would like to make a report in, and then you will click next. You'll then choose whether you'd like to give input about a specific location, such as an intersection, or if you'd like to make a line and do a segment of a road or sidewalk or pathway. And then you will see a map that will come up that you can zoom in on. And this is where you can choose the location that you want to give the input on. You can zoom into the map and select the location, or you can type in the address and the search icon, or even zoom to your current location by clicking on the location icon. And then once you choose a location, this little window will pop up, and this is where you will choose the type of report, such as a crash, near miss, hazard, safe place. Depending on the type of report, the questions will be a little different. So when we first go through a crash, which is similar to a near miss report as well. Something similar to this will come up, a little survey. You'll first choose which mode of transportation you were using. So this could be biking, walking, riding an e-scooter, taking a bus or a train, using a mobility device, etc. And some of these might come up with a second question. So if you were using a mobility device, it wants to know what type of mobility device you were using. So you'll answer that as well. And then you will also choose the date that the crash or the near miss occurred, whether it's just the month or the year, or if you know the exact date, and then what time of day this happened. So if this was at day or at night. And once you fill out those questions, you'll click next. And it wants to know what mode of transportation the other person involved was utilizing. And the same options are available as well. And then they also want to know who, or if anyone was injured and how severe those injuries were. And then if the report or the crash was reported to the police. Once you go through those, you'll then have a chance to express your opinions and comments on what happened and what could make it feel safer. So, what caused this crash? You can choose as many or as little as these options if you would like. And we also encourage people to make sure to write a narrative. It's a little cut off here, but that way, when we are looking at the data at the reports, people have a better understanding of what happened. And also put in what you think can make this place feel safer. And if you want to add any comments for that as well. So then we're also going to go through what it's like to make a hazard or safe report. So similarly to the crash and near miss reports, you'll also want to choose what mode of transportation you were using, or that you do feel unsafe or safe using. And then if this is day or night that you feel safe or unsafe or both. It doesn't ask the date because this is more of just a general, sort of factor about the environment or a general behavior occurrence that you see here, such as people speeding or cracked sidewalks, something of that nature. Then you will click next. And this immediately jumps to those questions that want to know your opinion on the situation, and as well as the chance to write narratives or comments. So after you go through the survey, it's then time to submit. You can either add another location and just submit them all at the end as like a batch, or you can just submit this one. After you do press submit, it will take you to a questionnaire that will have some demographic questions. That is completely optional, but it is welcomed for you to respond to those so that we get a good understanding of how broad our audience is that we are reaching. But again, it's completely optional. You can still make reports without it. So how to see the data on Street Story. So you can go to streetstory.berkeley.edu, and this will be the first page that comes up. And let's say you want to check out Humboldt County. So you would click county, and then a pop-up menu would come down and you would click Humboldt and you'd press next. And it will take you to here. And you can either press see data here or see data there, and then click here for the data in the selected area. And something along the lines of this pop-up. You will see graphs, tables, charts, maps with all of the reports on them. These are all the crash and near miss ones in Humboldt County. These are all the hazard and unsafe ones, and you can zoom in and out on these and click on reports. All of these are downloadable. The entire report is downloadable. You can save these as image. You can save the data as Excel files, CSVs. And it's just a way to see the data in different forms to, extrapolate information from them in different ways. So if you were to zoom in on one of those maps, you'd be able to click on one of these dots or one of these lines, which is an individual report, and you'll be able to see, what type of report this was. So we can see that this was a near miss and the person was walking. And you can see that their narrative that they wrote is that the bike lane crisscrossed with oncoming traffic. So as cars drive down the hill, the biker in the bike lane is forced to cross in front of the car, barreling down from the steepest hill in town. I was almost hit by a car from simply following poorly planned bike lanes. So the reason that we encourage people to write narratives in these reports is if this person had not wrote this narrative here, all we would have been able to see is near miss and walking. So while that is still useful information, it's much more useful when there's a narrative here and we can understand what specifically is going on at this location. We're able to see here that there's some poorly planned bike lanes and that this is causing a lot of issues and safety hazards for people. So that's a lot more to take in and a lot more useful when we're doing planning processes and advocating for safety improvements rather than just seeing that, there was a near miss here. And this is how, you can press here for a print report or download the data. And you can also press these three lines to either download the data or if you'd like to download these as images or just print the chart, etc. So Street Story also has a tool that is called a custom boundary. So if you are wanting to use Street Story in a project or something of that nature that the area doesn't necessarily fit into a, city lines or county lines, something of that nature. You have the option to do a custom boundary, which the Street Story will allow you to make a particular shape over the area that you want to get information on, and then they will send you the data about that. This is mainly used for those who want the data on a specific area that doesn't fit those, city or county lines, um, you know, such as getting report data for the area around a proposed development or a project. And, if you're interested in this tool, you can reach out for assistance. You can reach out to CRTP or SafeTrek and get a little more information on how to utilize that or how to draw a custom boundary. So the next question is, how can your community use Street Story? Community engagement is a really important and necessary part of all transportation planning processes, including developing community needs assessments and long-range transportation plans, advocating and applying for funding for safety improvements, selecting the right safety improvements for a specific area, and evaluating how well a safety improvement has worked. Street Story is designed to be used alongside other community engagement efforts. These efforts can look like soliciting reports from members, neighbors, the public to gather information about your neighborhoods or specific areas of concern. Ways to do this can look like tabling at community events, such as farmers markets, bike rodeos, school events, etc. You can bring flyers and information materials and ask them to make reports on their home computer or on their phone if available. You can also hold community meetings where community members can discuss their transportation safety experiences and spend time recording information on the Street Story website. Or you can even plan and organize a bike ride or a walk audit where you spend time taking notes on locations where people feel safe or unsafe or experienced a crash or a near miss in the past. Street Story data complements these other data sources about street safety, including police reported collisions, hospital reported collisions, and built environment characteristics. Public agencies can use it to engage the public on specific plans or grants or projects and can use the data as a supplement to police reported collisions when applying for grants and deciding what future projects to prioritize. The program is funded through the California Office of Traffic Safety. Funding for Street Story is provided by a grant from the California Office of Traffic Safety through the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. We are the Coalition for Responsible Transportation Priorities, otherwise known as CRTP. If you'd like to email me, it is kelsey@transportationpriorities.org, or you can find us on our website at transportationpriorities.org, or follow us on Instagram at CRTP_North Coast. Thanks so much.